Hello and welcome to the 99th Monkey Liberty News, formerly known as the 50-cent tour of the day. Today is Monday, October 14th, 2013, and we might as well rename this video News of the Weird if things continue as they have been going the last few days. Let's begin with the Natural News article, EBT card food stamp recipients ransack Wal-Mart stores, stealing carts full of food during federal computer glitch. So what happened was, you probably heard over the weekend that the EBT cards stopped working for a period of time. And evidently, I'm not sure if this was a related glitch or how this issue occurred, but in Louisiana there were a few Walmart stores where the EBT cards showed unlimited funds available, and people bought unlimited amounts of groceries. And this EBT card issue is kind of looming in the background because people were very upset, understandably, I think, when the EBT cards would not work over the weekend. You know, if you have little children and you are dependent on this mode of payment to feed your little children, I'm not advocating EBT or welfare or anything like that. It's just that when you're dependent on something and suddenly it's removed, I think virtually everybody becomes upset. So, as InfoWars reports, debt default could spark food stamp riots. To quote InfoWars, should the U.S. enter a post-debt ceiling economy on Friday, payments to Medicare and medical providers, unemployment benefits, Social Security checks, and tax refunds would be postponed for 1 to 4 days, reports the Washington Post, citing a bipartisan policy center report. And still quoting, going into the next paragraph, this means that food stamps set to be distributed on October 25th would be delayed until at least October 30th, and nearly $60 billion in Social Security checks could be delayed by 2 weeks. So this is pretty serious, and Alex Jones is suggesting, InfoWars is suggesting, this article is actually by Paul Joseph Watson, they're suggesting that this could spark riots, and I suppose there is potential for that. What we can do is pray and be prepared and be kind to people. I mean, if we can stock up and have a little extra to maybe help some neighbors who depend on Social Security, whatever, that would probably be ideal. More news of the weird from Ben Swan from yesterday. President Obama fires high-ranking nuclear chiefs. And there were, I believe it was 5 generals who were fired. And a companion story, this evidently very likely has something to do with the missing nukes. Michael Savage, on his radio broadcast, was asking questions about the missing nukes. Top radio host Michael Savage calls for answers over missing nukes. There is probably something big going on here, but it's cloaked in a lot of secrecy, and the only way we can prepare for anything pertaining to this issue is to pray. Prayer is a good response on a day when the news is like it is today. I wanted to cover just a couple of thoughts that I've had, some things that I've encountered over the weekend. Because things are so stirred up, there is a lot of disinfo being released, a lot of misleading articles and ideas, and we know that always happens. We're prepared to see that happen in the mainstream media. But I think that it's gotten amped up in the liberty media, in the alternative media, because people know that there are a lot more people paying attention to the alternative media. So, of course, there are more false stories being released and more issues that are meant as a distraction. This is not specifically pertaining to that. This is a video I found on YouTube. Alert: government hires trolls, shills to monitor and disrupt communication. I have encountered this myself. That's why I'm addressing this issue. I'm hoping that we can all be cautious about how we use our time. And arguing with trolls, shills, people who are hired maybe to detract from our message or keep us distracted is a complete waste of time, I think. I don't leave the comments up because they definitely are, they can be damaging to the message. If I believe that somebody is a troll or a shill, it's pretty clear to me somebody who mysteriously has tons of time on their hands, somebody who really has no tie-in. Like, for instance, on the smart meters, I have a smart meters video from years ago, and it still gets hits. And there's this guy who constantly posts negative comments, and sometimes the people who post positive comments enjoy sparring with him, and that's cool. But when it's down to me, I refuse to waste my time on it. I will just delete the comments because it's a time waster. This person has trotted out all of his arguments, and I've responded with all of mine, and to go on sparring with this person is just, it's just ridiculous waste of time. And I'm reminded of Mahesh Chavda, who once said that he doesn't counsel people because he would feel that when he was counseling people, there was just a demon sitting on the other side of the desk, mocking him and wasting his time. So that can happen to us sometimes, and I'm not opposed to counseling. I think sometimes people really do require an ear and a shoulder to cry on. And when progress is made, that's cool. But, you know, a lot of these people, if they're paid trolls, paid shills, whatever, you're not going to make any headway with them. It's not like you're going to suddenly say something, the light bulb in their head is going to come on, and they're going to get it. No. So I'm bringing this up. Why waste your time? I don't waste mine. I'm not going to waste my time. If someone has a genuine comment, I will definitely answer. And some people were confused last week by some statements that I made about Obama possibly having had good intentions when he started out. Maybe I am being overly generous. I don't know the man personally. All I know is the guy that I see in the news, on TV and videos, whatever. I can't watch him. I can't listen to his voice at this point because all I get is a NLP vibe, a hypnotism vibe, a mind control vibe, and I'm not feeling it. Now, when he was a candidate, I was never planning or thinking about voting for him. But you know, you evaluate people. I did not get that weird vibe when he was a candidate. So I'm not really absolutely sure what's going on. I believe he's arrogant and all that, but he may have at least had some thought of doing what he considered some good. And I'm thinking about the heirs and some of the people who influenced his early political life. You know, what comes to mind is in The Big Lebowski when Walter says, say what you want about communism, at least it's an ethos. And, you know, these people are nihilists. Communists, yeah, I don't believe in communism. I don't want to live that way. Some of the foundational ideals seem good about everybody sharing and caring and all that. But we can't have that imposed on us by government. It doesn't work. But, even if Obama was a communist starting out, that's different from the cabal people who are just basically like the Tommy knockers, this, giant chewing mouth with blades in it. So I hope I didn't rock the boat too much for you all, but I'm even encouraging you and myself too to always be wary. And that is actually the next thing that I wanted to address. And Don and I mentioned this over the weekend in Pearls of Liberty, this petition from Jesse Ventura. I was so disappointed. And Alex Jones just had Jesse on as a guest, and I'm sure Alex didn't know what this petition said. Maybe he still doesn't. I keep kind of waiting for a retraction. But I'm not sure if one will come. But, maybe Jesse's speaking from his heart. Maybe he's been influenced by somebody. Maybe he sold out to a degree so that Howard Stern would be his running mate. Who knows? But this petition and the issues with it, promoting, basically asking the Congress to get it together so that Obamacare can be implemented. I was pretty shocked. Read it for yourselves, see if that's what you get from it. But this very thing is another issue, another point that I wanted to make today. That it doesn't matter who somebody is. It doesn't matter how long you've enjoyed listening to their broadcast, whatever, YouTube videos. Go over this stuff with a fine-tooth comb. If there's one fault that virtually all Americans have had for the last few decades until just recently, is that we have given a free pass to people that we once believed trustworthy. And there are a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing, and they know that. They know if they appear as sheep, we will trust them and we will follow them. So this is just, a statement about not being a follower, that all of us need to learn how to determine our own way and not be led. And something else that I want to look at, I noticed this yesterday and I was so excited about what the veterans did in Washington, D.C., and that's actually my good news for the day in a minute. But in looking at all of that, I noticed, I was looking for YouTube videos yesterday, and I found that Sarah Palin and Ted Cruz found a way to politicize and capitalize on what the veterans were doing. And I think oftentimes grassroots movements have been co-opted. And if we are a part of these movements, I believe it's important for us to stay outside of the two-party system, to stay outside of the left-right paradigm, and not let Republicans, was a great thing, the Veterans marched. And I can understand that there were what is conventionally thought of as Republican ideals that were being expressed by this march. And I guess some of the guys even had asked their senators and Congress people to get involved. So I understand how this happened. I'm not saying it's horrible. I'm just offering it as a caution to all of us that we not allow ourselves in our efforts to be firmly placed in a camp that is within the context of the left-right paradigm. And here is our good news. Protesting veterans tear down D.C. barricades. Chant shut down the White House. The Million Vet March in Washington, D.C. appears to be escalating as reports of barricades being torn down, police in riot gear, and snipers being deployed. and a growing crowd at the White House chanting for its shutdown suggests the people are growing restless. I think that's an adequate assessment. The people are growing restless, and the veterans are restless about not being allowed access to their war memorials, and the people who receive food stamps, EBT cards, are growing restless about being afraid they're going to lose their benefits. Where will this all lead? I think the only way we can see a good outcome for the country is to hit our knees. And certainly for our families and our neighbors to be prepared is a very positive means of responding to the kind of news that we've had over the weekend. And happy Columbus Day. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Hoping that you will love one another, that you will take care, and that you will insist on liberty.